Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olive, and this video is going to be sort of an introduction into primal flow movements. So it's essentially crawling around on all four limbs in a variety of different positions. And I'm just trying to expose you to what they are and how we can travel, how we can involve locomotion, how we can involve transitions in this. And it's quite a free-for-all kind of class. So take what you want from it, pause when you need to, and just see how you get on. You're just going to need your body, and that is it. We're going to start by just warming up our wrists, so take yourself into a comfortable position or feel free to do the standing. We're just going to interlace our hands quite nice and tight so there's no gap in between our wrists, and just go through some nice gentle rolls through the wrists, trying to take them through their kind of full existing range. And we're going to change direction, just slowly lubricating into the joints. And then we're going to let a little bit more freedom come towards the base of the wrist and take it through some wave-like movements. Allow the fingers to click and crack if that's going to happen. Just seeing how we can kind of take the wrist through some flexion and extension. See if you can change direction as well. Beautiful. And then release and maybe just roll the wrists out away from you. You can roll them up above the head and then just flick out the fingers down by your side, just getting a little bit of a pump into the forearms, and then shake it out and release. Okay, beautiful. So moving into the shoulders, you're going to bring yourself up into an upright kneeling stance. So you're kind of having the knees directly under the hips or just hip distance, wherever you feel balanced. Then extend the arms out to the side. Now we're coming into shoulder internal and external rotation. So what that looks like, internal it draws inwards, external we draw up. But we're going to alternate between sides. So start with the left palm twisting down, so internal for the left shoulder and external for the right shoulder, so right palm twisting up. And then you're going to swap it over, twisting them the other way. And again, just kind of repeating this process in your own time. Seeing how the shoulders kind of respond to the movement. Now what's nice about this is that you can also bring some lateral flexion into your spine. So for example, when I twist my right palm up, I can twist that way as well. And then left palm, twist that way. Just so you get a little bit more additional kind of movement rolling into the spine as well as the shoulders. We love combination movements. Go a couple more times. Listen to any kind of clicks and sensations you might experience. Let's go one more each side. And then release and shake it out. We're going to pop up to standing and have a little look at our spine. So first of all, we're going to come into some flexion. So take the feet about hip distance apart, arms by your side. You're going to drop your chin down to your chest, then round through the upper back, the mid spine, lower back, bend into the legs, folding forwards, and then to push through the feet, lift up through the lower, the mid, the upper, the neck, and come back up. And again, we're going to roll it all the way back down, move as slowly as you like, or as quick, and drive through, lifting all the way up. I'm going to do it 2 more times. So this movement is also known as a Jefferson curl in the world of strength training. Usually people would do it with like a barbell or a kettlebell or some form of resistance. Last one. And all the way back up through to standing. When you get there, have a little roll through the shoulders. A little bit of extension for the spine. Take an inhale, reach your arms up. And you're going to step back with the right foot, landing on the balls of the feet and just lifting through the spine. Extending forwards, breathing into the belly, and then release, step the foot in, inhale, arms up, step back with the left foot, again extending through the body in the front. We are moving quite quickly through the warm-up because I want to spend a bit more time with our sort of ground-based primal movement. And release, and again one more time each leg, inhale, right leg back. Breathing into the belly, into the chest. Release, inhale, step back, left leg, last time. Beautiful, take one more breath. And again, release, stepping in, have a little shake. Okay, cool. So for the hips and for the knees/ankles, maybe take yourself to a wall just to kind of stabilize. You don't need to worry too much about the balance. Take your left hand onto your left hip, lifting the left knee up and off the ground, having a slight 90-degree into the hamstring and the calf, and then you're just going to rotate out and find yourself moving through some circles. The thing with these circles, they don't have to be excessively big. You might get a nice big clunk like that. We just want to find them, or allowing that hip to go through its full range. So you can also change direction. And then one more time. And release, maybe just swing the leg backwards and forwards a couple times. And then releasing and swap sides over. So again, right leg lifts up, start to take it through some big circular kinds of movements. You can allow a little bend to the bottom leg if you need. Again, change direction. And go one more. And then release into a swing. And come down, shaking it out. Okay, last little bit before we start exploring some of our primal kind of movement. Feet about hip distance apart, these are called knee and ankle circles. You're going to start to bend the knees and draw them inwards towards one another. The outer edge of your ankles might lift up, that's fine. And then draw them out and back. So again, in, forwards, out, and back. It looks like a really weird dance. But again, essentially the feet start to move through inversion and eversion. So you're getting a bunch of ankle mobility drawn in. So yeah, see if you can also change direction, move the other way. One way might feel easier than the other. You might get loads of clicks like I just did in my knees as well. Okay, one more. And then come up and shake it all out. Okay, beautiful. So hopefully everything's feeling nice and warmed up in terms of our joints. It's all feeling nice and lubricated. We're now going to move into some of the movements. So the way I've kind of designed this class is fairly like free-for-all and a bit playful. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm kind of going to show you stuff and then I'm going to give you the reins. So we've got 3 movements to kind of cover. We have our beast position, we have our ape position, and we have our crab position. We're going to look at how we can sort of build strength in each of those. We're going to look at how we can travel in them, so in terms of locomotion, how we can transition between the 3, and then also just like additional free-for-all bits. So let's have a look at our beast position first. You're going to be in a tabletop, shoulders over the wrists. You're going to tuck your toes and lift your knees about an inch or so off the floor. So that is our beast position. The closer that your knees are to the ground, the easier it's going to be for you to control the rest of your body. Similarly, if we reduce the distance between the hands and the toes, the easier it will be to control because the less surface area we are covering. So the first thing we are going to do is just see if we can offset the balance by lifting one limb at a time. So in your beast position, set yourself up, big push and lift. Just going to see if we can lift the left hand off the ground and back down, right hand, back down, left foot, point the toes, right foot, point the toes. And again, left hand, left foot, right foot. Take a break, have a breather, maybe roll through the wrists. Again, like I said, because this is quite a free-for-all class, pause the video if you need to. We're going to try that again, but move the opposite direction, so go right side into left side. So again, coming down to the hands and knees, pushing through, lifting. Right hand, right foot, left foot. Right hand, right foot, left foot, and down. And it's important to be able to kind of lift each body part off the ground and still regain the balance, particularly when we come to transition. So let's have a little break, switch into our ape position, and again look at similar kind of movements. So for our ape, we are into a squat. Doesn't matter if the squat looks like this with the ankles down, doesn't matter if the squat looks like this with the ankles up. Doesn't matter if we're up here, our squats are all going to look very, very slightly different. But what we're going to look at with our ape is extending opposite hand in front of opposite foot. So right hand in front of left foot on a diagonal. Take your left hand down next to it and you're going to bend and lean into it. And we're going to come back, switch and lean to the other side, into the right knee. Again, I'm just going to move and rock. Ape is slightly different to our beast and to our crab because we only really tend to have 2 limbs on the floor, so the feet. But this movement here is going to start prepping us for when we travel in locomotion in our ape position. With this, you can start to really accentuate the back leg. You can kick it away straight by just reaching further away, or you can keep it close and again kind of move. Okay, one more each side. And then take a break. And you're going to bring yourself down to sit on your butt. And we're going to look at crab. So crab is essentially the inverted position of beast. Instead of chest facing the floor, chest is going to be facing up. So with your crab position, your feet are going to be facing forwards and your hands are going to go behind you. Now the way that your fingers position can change up the structure in your shoulders. I personally prefer having my fingers turned out to either side, but you might prefer having your fingertips facing forwards. You might prefer having your fingertips facing behind you. Regardless of the position that your hands are in, you're going to work really hard to really create protraction in your shoulders. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together the entire time so that we're not just like collapsing into our shoulder joints when we have the lift. So, like I said, regardless of the position that your hands are in, squeeze and draw your shoulder blades together, push through the hands and feet, lifting the butt about 1 inch off the ground, just like we did in our beast position. So this is kind of the starting position here. Maybe draw the butt down towards the heels, back towards the hands, and kind of just experiment with your mid-ground. So mid-ground is about here. Okay, take a break. Maybe roll through your wrists if you need. And then we're going to do the exact same thing we did in beast, where we're going to lift 1 limb at a time. It might take a little bit more brain power to lift the hands off the ground because we cannot see them. So be patient with yourself, see how it goes. Okay, so set yourself up, engage through upper body, push through when you're ready lifting. We're going to start with the feet. So left leg, down, right leg, down, left hand, and right hand. And go again, left leg, right leg, left hand, right hand. Come down, take a break. We don't need to lift the limbs super high off the ground. Remember, we want to kind of keep everything nice and close. And whatever limbs are remaining, we're trying to spread the weight across and keep stable through those. Let's have a go on the other side, lifting with the right first. So again, squeeze to lift, right hand, right foot, left foot. I threw a spanner in the works, so I'm going to do that again. Right hand, left hand, right foot, and down. Okay. So again, feel free to pause the video at this point and kind of revisit all of those 3 drills if you wanted to. If you're happy, we're going to move into some more locomotion and transitions. So, coming back to our beast, how can we travel around in a quadruped or beast kind of position? Again, it's going to be quite fluid and free-for-all. You can keep your limbs quite close, you can stretch them away, you can move in a variety of different directions. Very much depends on the space that you're in. But we always start by just setting our beast. And then it's a case of sometimes lifting opposite hand, opposite leg at the same time, crawling forwards, or crawling back, or switching, crawling to the side. Really stretching out the legs and moving with you. Essentially, it's just moving on all fours, right? Seeing if we can keep stable through the position. So have a little experiment, have a little walk, see where you want to take it. Try keep the hips and shoulders level. We want to avoid lifting the hips too high because that reduces our control. You'll find that even 30 seconds of just this movement is quite taxing. And it's because, you can hear it in my breath, it's because there's so much strength and mobility constantly at play here. And it's a really sort of like exhausting movement pattern to involve yourself in. So take breaks when you need to and just see how you feel. That's one way we can move around in our beast. Now, how can we kind of create travel in our ape? This is the one that gets really exciting because you can move around a little bit like Tarzan. So coming back to our ape position, this idea of reaching away and dropping the knee, that sort of like creates a little like open chapter for how we can then travel. So for example, instead of just leaning into it, I'm going to start here, lean towards the left, then hop my hips and come back down. Similarly, lean to the right, hop my hips and come back down. You don't have to stay in a straight line. You can kind of twist on a diagonal if you wanted to. You can land with the legs close, or you could land with one leg kicked away and then pull in. And again, move to the other side, kick the other leg away. If you practice inversions, like handstand, you could put one in here. So again, come down, little hover, and down to the floor. Bunch of different ways that we can treat it. So that is for your ape. Now for crab, a little bit different. Well, it's similar to our beast, but again, we can't always kind of see the limbs that are behind us, right? So it feels different. Again, similar kind of thing, setting our position, lifting up. We could lift opposite hand, opposite leg, and walk like little crabs, backwards, forwards. You could cross, you could go side to side. You could stretch out one leg. It's a little bit harder. You could even try and lift one limb off the floor longer, whatever you're feeling. But again, twisting, turning around, seeing where you're going. So those are our kind of like locomotion or traveling ways that we can incorporate all those movements. The next thing to kind of cover before we have a little like free-for-all is the transitions. So for example, how could I get from my beast to my ape to my crab to my beast, etc. So it makes sense when you do this movement as well. It just makes sense, it flows quite naturally. If, for example, I am in my beast and I want to come to my crab, we go with something called an under switch. So it would be coming back to this idea of opposite hand and opposite leg lifting off the ground, and then switching and coming into our crab. So this is why it's important to practice those lifts at the beginning. From my beast, I'm going to lift my right hand, my left leg, and that allows me to sweep underneath and come into my crab. To get back to my beast, it would be, say, right foot, left hand, and I sweep back. And once you kind of get it, you can just continuously roll with the movement. You can swap hands round and swap legs round, staying close and tight to the ground. It can take a little while to get this movement because it's involving coordination and one position from the floor to one position looking upwards. So again, just to reiterate, opposite hand, opposite leg lifts, and then as it does, it opens up that pathway for you to rotate round. Again, opposite hand, opposite leg. It's creating that direction for you to slowly, slowly rotate round and spin it. So that's how you would get from beast to crab. From beast to ape, it can be as simple as pushing yourself back and then slowly coming down. For crab to ape, similar kind of thing. You could push forwards and then you could push back. So, I appreciate that's a lot to digest. Obviously, like I keep saying, pause the video when you want to. From here, we are going to start to incorporate stuff into like a little bit more of a flow. And I'm going to chuck in some random little bits that you can get involved with as well. So, what we are going to do is going to start in our crab position. We're going to maybe flow into some ape and involve some little wild cards. So from your crab, and pop yourself up. And then from here, what I want you to start with is just rocking down to the heels, back to the hands a couple of times. And then maybe rock off the heels onto the toes, coming forwards, so getting more of a bend into the legs. Then if you feel comfortable at this point, what you can start to do, as you come forwards into the toes, maybe sweep your right arm round and bring it back. Same thing, sweep your left arm round. Then maybe this time, you come through into your beast position, get there however you want, and then push through up into your 8. We're going to now dive forwards with the hands, arms come together, we drop the chin to the chest, and then you're going to rock onto the balls of the feet, extend your arms nice and wide, squeezing through the shoulder blades. And then from here, you're going to take both hands down towards the ground on the right hand side, hop the hips back into the squat. Come forwards into your beast position. Maybe rocking backwards and forwards from beast into ape. And then from your beast, you're going to lift your hips up, draw your right heel to your right glute and open up the hips. And then bring it all the way back down to your beast. Lift hips up, rotate, squeeze left heel, left glute. Come back down, push back into your ape. You're going to reach forwards and dive, and then extend open. And then again, relax. Take hands down to the left, hop the hips, sweep the hands behind you into crab and have a little bit of a walk. Have a little bit of a move. In this process, maybe have some movements rotating through into beast, or whatever else you can think to take it. And then chill out. So that's kind of one way. There are so many ways that you can move around, but that was an example of just kind of like incorporating what we've learned and just seeing if we can kind of continuously flow. So I'm not going to overload you anymore. I want you to take what we've kind of practiced and maybe run with it and see where it takes you, and just maybe set a timer for 30 seconds and see what you can start to incorporate. But this is kind of like a nice foundational introduction to some primal flow kind of movements. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time.